An old traditional market on Seoul's outskirts had sustained people's lives for decades. Shops packed between narrow alleys each held their own stories. A rice cake shop that lit up at 5 every morning, a hardware store that endured half a century in one place, and a herbal medicine shop passed down from grandmother's grandmother. This wasn't merely a marketplace, but a foundation of life, a space where memories accumulated. Among them, Kim Young-ho's noodle shop was the market symbol. Under the humble sign, Young-ho's Noodles, he had been cooking noodles consistently for 30 years. His touch was sincere, and each bowl contained honesty and sweat. Rising at 4 to prepare, broth and hand-pulling noodles wasn't just labor, but conviction. Young-ho, it'll be delicious today too. A regular grandmother smiled. Grandmother, it's always the same taste. That consistency is our pride. Young-ho served a neat bowl with a bright smile. His smile held pride. This ordinary routine was everything to him. But recently, an ominous atmosphere began surrounding the market. Initially, there were minor changes. Strangers loitered at the market entrance, and whispers among merchants increased. Then shops began closing one by one. "Why are you suddenly giving up?" Young-ho asked a neighboring shopkeeper, who shook his head. "Young-ho, I can't endure here anymore." What kind of world is this nowadays? Unexplainable fear was mixed in those words. As redevelopment winds blew, the entire market was swept into massive interests. Construction company president Baek Do-hwan devised meticulous plans to acquire this old market site entirely. To him, this was merely land, a golden site for shopping complexes and high-rise apartments. Baek Do-hwan's office wasn't far from the market. Gazing at the market through glass windows, he smiled cynically. How long can those old buildings last? His method was simple yet cruel. He forced merchants to pay relocation fees, destroying or threatening those who refused. Gang forces backed him. Baek didn't need to appear directly. Money's power and violence's threat sufficed. Market merchants grew increasingly anxious. Daily rumors weighed on their hearts. Kim's side dish shop finally paid and left. Park's fish shop was ransacked at night. Who's next? Such stories whispered throughout the market. Merchants felt helpless looking at each other. Though they'd lived here for decades, they were mere ants before massive capital. Young-ho wasn't exempt. One day, as he closed shop normally, strange men barged in. 3 men in black suits filled the narrow shop. Their expressions showed no room for negotiation. "Your manager Kim." The middleman spoke politely, but hidden threats were felt. "Yes, but who are you?" "We work under President Baek Do-hwan. We came about market redevelopment." Young-ho's heart sank. His turn had finally come. "Manager Kim, stop suffering now. Our president will transform this land into big buildings. Clean up your shop and take some money for comfortable retirement." Though sounding like a proposal, Young-ho sensed it was an order. Their eyes read non-refusal. "How much will you give?" Young-ho asked cautiously. 30 million won for relocation. That should be sufficient to start elsewhere. 30 million won wasn't small money to Young-ho, but it was woefully inadequate to abandon 30 years of accumulation. How could memories, relationships with regulars, and pride from this place be calculated with money? I've only sold noodles here my whole life. How can I leave when customers come? Young-ho's voice trembled but was resolute. The men's eyes turned cold. "Manager Kim, we're speaking politely. Don't be too stubborn. Others handled it well. I'm different from others. This is my entire life." Young-ho shook his head. Though fear existed in his heart, his attachment to this place was greater. The men exchanged glances. Such situations weren't unfamiliar, but most surrendered after several threats. Kim Young-ho was there first. "Then there's no choice." "But Manager Kim, some things in the world are irreversible. Please reconsider for a few days." The men left with these words. Watching their retreating figures, Young-ho felt chills throughout his body. But he had no regrets. Days later, his shop's window lay shattered. Arriving at dawn, Young-ho faced a devastating scene. Glass fragments scattered the floor and "Get out quickly" was written on walls in red paint. These crazy bastards. Young-ho clenched his fists. Anger surged, but helplessness followed. This was merely the beginning. Neighboring merchants gathered one by one. Their expressions mixed sympathy and fear. Young-ho, how about accepting it before getting hurt more? Right, we can't win by sticking together. They move systematically. Everyone's advice was the same. Give up. But Young-ho shook his head. It's not over yet. I'll protect this place. That evening, Young-ho sat alone in his shop, staring at the broken window. Cold wind entered through cracks, touching his entire body. Though cold, his heart became firmer. This wasn't simple redevelopment. It was robbery, stealing their life's foundation. Young-ho had no intention of retreating from this fight. Even if alone, he'd endure until the end. As night deepened, the market grew silent. Shops that once stayed lit until late were swallowed by darkness one by one. This place, once filled with laughter and chatter, was becoming a ghost town. But only Young-ho's noodle shop still shone with light. Despite broken windows and penetrating cold wind, he guarded this position. His eyes burned with determination never to surrender. Tomorrow's events remained unknown, but Young-ho was prepared. Just as he'd protected this place for 30 years, he'd continue protecting it, even if it became a lonely fight. The evening after the noodle shop's window was smashed, Young-ho sat alone, staring at temporarily attached plywood. Cold wind seeped through gaps, making his body shiver. But he stubbornly maintained his position. A few regular customers came by sympathetically before leaving, but most people now avoided this place. Then familiar footsteps entered as the door opened. Young-ho looked up to see a young man in a suit. Tall with broad shoulders, his face showed deep fatigue, but his eyes were clear. Do-hyun? Young-ho's voice trembled. His son, Kim Do-hyun, stood at the door. Father. Do-hyun set down his bag, surveying the broken window area. His expression darkened progressively. When did you arrive, without even calling? Last night. I stayed at a hotel and came straight here. Do-hyun lived busily as a lawyer, handling corporate law at a major Seoul firm. Wrestling daily with contracts and legal documents was routine. He only exchanged monthly phone calls with his father, rarely meeting. His sudden visit had one reason. I heard father's noodle shop was in crisis. Days ago, Mr. Bita Park, who'd operated a rice cake shop in the market, called Do-hyun. Desperation filled his voice. Do-hyun, your father's in big trouble. Redevelopment dealers are trying to take over the market, and only your father is holding out alone. This could become really dangerous. Upon receiving that call, Do-hyun dropped everything and rushed over. Initially considering it a simple commercial dispute, seeing the site directly revealed the serious situation. Father, what exactly is happening? Young-ho sighed, methodically explaining recent months' events. The redevelopment pressures beginning, merchants leaving one by one, and how construction company president Baek, Do-hwan, and his subordinates threatened people. Do-hyun clenched his fists, listening to his father. Confirming the shadow of violence controlling the market changed his expression. This wasn't simple real estate conflict, but organized extortion and threats. This Baek Do-hwan person, I need to investigate what kind of guy he is. Do-hyun, don't go too deep. Those guys are... Father, I'm a lawyer. This is exactly what I should do. Anger mixed in Do-hyun's voice. He recalled childhood memories. Do-hyun was 12 then, when their family home was demolished under development's name. People suddenly appeared saying, "Move out." Father panicked, mother cried. But nobody helped. Will our house disappear too? Young Do-hyun asked, but father couldn't answer. Eventually they had to move. The compensation money was woefully inadequate to start anew. That experience left deep wounds in young Do-hyun's heart. That night, Do-hyun decided, I'll protect the weak with law. That promise led him to become a lawyer, majoring in law, passing the bar exam, then living as a lawyer for over 10 years. but spending most time representing corporate interests. He couldn't do what he'd dreamed of. This situation was both personal vendetta and mission. Father, how many merchants nearby experienced similar things? Consider it almost everyone. No market merchant hasn't been threatened. Then there are people who could testify. Young Ho shook his head. Do Hyun face reality? How can people step forward when they're scared? Everyone's just thinking about quietly taking money and leaving. Do Hyun walked around the market, usually bustling evening hours, but now only gloomy. Most shops were closed, only a few sadly lit. What happened to Uncle Park's shop? Yesterday he packed everything and left. He was someone who said he'd endure to the end. Young Ho's voice was dejected. Do Hyun visited Mr. Park, finding him in a studio apartment 10 minutes from the market. Park welcomed Do Hyun, but showed worried expressions. Do Hyun, what can you accomplish by coming? The opponents aren't ordinary guys. Uncle, please tell me exactly what happened. Park hesitated long before speaking. Initially they came politely, offering relocation fees. When I refused, threats intensified. Later they came nightly, drinking and causing trouble in front of my shop. Customers became too scared to come. Did others have similar experiences? Of course, all the same. Some shops were completely destroyed, some families were threatened. So how could anyone endure? Do Hyun recorded his conversation with Park. Though he might hesitate about official complaints, it would help organize the situation minimally. For days, Do Hyun met market merchants investigating damage situations. Most people reluctantly spoke, but gradually revealed truth through Do Hyun's persistent persuasion. This process revealed how systematically Do Hwan and his organization operated. This isn't simple thug behavior, Do Hyun told his father. Legally, there are various problems: extortion, threats, property damage, sufficient grounds for complaints. But witnesses won't step forward. There are methods for that too. First report to police, then inform media. Young Ho felt complicated seeing his son's passion, both grateful and worried. That night, Do Hyun investigated Do Hwan. Through internet searches and court databases, he grasped his background. Baek had already conducted similar redevelopment schemes multiple times, mostly successful, but sometimes reported. However, he always received non-prosecution due to insufficient evidence or witness avoidance. This time will be different, Do Hyun muttered. Next morning, Do Hyun sat with his father in the noodle shop. Fewer customers than usual, but some regulars still visited. Do Hyun came. It's been long. An elderly woman greeted warmly. Grandmother, hello. Have you been well? What well, in this chaos? Your father's suffering so much. Facing this alone. Hearing grandmother's words, Do Hyun felt heavy-hearted. He could imagine father's difficulties. Past lunch, expected events occurred. Men in black suits reappeared at the shop. For this time. Manager Kim, still here. The center man addressed Young Ho. His gaze also turned to Do Hyun. Ah, your son? Nice meeting you. Do Hyun stood, looking straight at them. Hello. I'm Kim Do Hyun. Ah, we heard you're a lawyer. Then we can communicate. The man spoke mockingly. Our president wants to give Manager Kim a final opportunity. He'll raise relocation fees to 50 million won. 50 million won, considerably increased from the initial amount. But this is final. He won't wait longer. Do Hyun stepped forward. Sorry, but stop threatening remarks. We intend solving this problem through legal procedures. The men's expressions changed. Threatening? We're proposing fair compensation. Fair compensation requires legal procedures. Forced eviction is clearly illegal. Think being a lawyer means you can do anything? The atmosphere turned hostile. Do Hyun didn't step back. If there are legal problems, I'll respond any time. I've collected sufficient evidence too. The men exchanged glances. This situation was unprecedented. All merchants they'd met had been scared and surrendered, but now a lawyer appeared. Then there's no choice. But you'll regret it. The men left with these words. Young Ho looked at his son worriedly. Do-hyun, will it be okay? Those guys won't stay quiet. Father, this matter absolutely cannot be overlooked. The moment we just collapse, the entire market ends. Young Ho hesitated, seeing his son's resolute gaze. Do-hyun, those guys aren't just money chasers. What if you get hurt too? But Do-hyun had already decided. Father, do you know why I became a lawyer? Because of what happened to our family when I was young. Then I couldn't do anything. But now it's different. Conviction filled Do-hyun's voice. Now I cannot retreat. I'll definitely protect this noodle shop father has maintained, and the entire market. That night, Do-hyun searched legal texts until late. He thoroughly examined redevelopment-related laws, commercial building lease protection laws, and criminal law precedents regarding extortion and threats. The fight was just beginning, but Do-hyun was prepared. He resolved to confront this unjust situation with law as weapon and belief in justice. Young Ho felt moved watching his son, the boy who helplessly lost his home in childhood, now stepped forward to protect others' foundations. Though the future would be rough, together with his son, victory seemed possible. The day after the first confrontation with Baek, Do-hwan's subordinates, Do-hyun immediately took action. He began roaming the market with his laptop, recorder, and thick briefcase. His experience as a lawyer shone in such situations. A systematic and logical approach was needed. He first visited a herbal medicine shop. Dongin-dan was a small pharmacy, passed down 3 generations, owned by 70-year-old Lee Deok-soo. Grandfather, hello. I'm Kim Do-hyun. Ah, Young Ho's son. Heard you became a lawyer? Yes, correct. Could you spare some time? I want to discuss something important. Deok-soo showed hesitation. In current times, talking with anyone was cautious. What about? I want to organize what you experienced regarding redevelopment. For legal response, Deok-soo's face darkened. Do-hyun, don't get involved. You might get hurt. Grandfather, staying quiet means everyone will eventually be evicted. We can win by fighting with law. Do-hyun visited merchants sequentially, recording threats. Initially, most were reluctant, but gradually opened. Up to his serious attitude and professional explanations, Deok-soo finally spoke. About a month ago, men in suits came saying clean up the pharmacy. When I refused, they came nightly making noise. Customers became too scared to come. Do-hyun listened while taking detailed notes. Could you be more specific? When, who, how they threatened? October 15th first. A tall man gave his business card demanding we move out. After refusing, they drank and sang loudly nightly in front of the pharmacy. Later kicked medicine boxes. Really scary. Do-hyun recorded dates and situations precisely. Continuing this way seemed sufficient for gathering evidence. Next, he visited a side dish shop. Kim Soon-ja, a woman in her 50s, operated alone. Sister, please help me. Do-hyun requested politely. Do-hyun, I want to help, but too scary. Don't know what those people might do. Soon-ja's voice trembled. She said someone had their shop bank book forcibly taken. Sister, what exactly happened? They demanded the bank book. Said checking rent. So I gave it, but days later returned it saying, no need to pay rent now. Know what that means? Do-hyun nodded. It was buying off landlords to evict merchants. Any recordings or photos then? No time for that. Too scared. But Soon-ja remembered that day's situation in detail. Do-hyun carefully recorded her testimony. For days, Do-hyun met all market merchants. Another heard families were threatened. Butcher Park Cheol-soo's case. My daughter attends middle school, and they waited outside school. Said, tell your father to think carefully. I was really angry then, but thinking of my daughter. Cheol-soo clenched his fists, still scared to let daughter go alone. Heart drops every time sending her to school. Do-hyun felt anger, threatening children too. Their behavior was more despicable than imagined. Most tried closing mouths in fear, but Do-hyun's serious attitude gradually moved them. He explained legal procedures in detail. instilling hope that together they could win. If we don't unite, this market disappears. But joining forces makes us stronger than them. Do Hyun's words held conviction. His experience and knowledge as a lawyer provided backing. Criminal complaints are possible, civil lawsuits too. Informing media would be effective. Important thing is not scattering. His persuasion encouraged several merchants and testimonies, and evidence began accumulating. Deoksu stepped forward first. Right, can't just take this. I'll testify. Sunja changed her mind. Me too. We all suffered, can't stay quiet. Cheol-su worried about his daughter, but finally decided to participate. If my daughter's safety is guaranteed, I'll join too. Do-hyun created Market Merchant Protection Association with them. They decided meeting weekly to share situations and discuss countermeasures. But Do-hyun's activity didn't stop there. He decided hiding a recorder to capture threatening scenes. Dangerous work, but necessary for securing decisive evidence. One afternoon, Do-hyun waited at his father's noodle shop. He'd heard information that Baek Do-hwan's subordinates would come again. Indeed, around 3 p.m., familiar faces appeared. Do-hyun activated his pre-prepared small recorder. Manager Kim, still here. Our president is waiting. How long will you continue this? Do-hyun interrupted. As mentioned before, please follow legal procedures. Legal? What did we do wrong? Isn't forced eviction illegal? The men's voices roughened. Don't think being a lawyer means you can do anything. The world doesn't run purely by law. Then how does it run? Powerful guys win. Manager Kim should wake up now. Your son seems too arrogant. Threatening remarks were fully captured on recorder. Do-hyun secretly tracked even Baek Do-hwan's slush fund flows. Through lawyer networks, he investigated Baek Do-hwan's company finances. Days of investigation revealed he was gathering speculative funds from various places, with connections to political circles. This is sufficient. Do-hyun muttered, organizing collected materials. Over 20 testimonies, more than 10 recording files, and financial data. Evidence sufficient for court battles. He established legally meticulous strategy. First, criminally charge Baek Do-hwan and subordinates for extortion and threats, simultaneously claiming damages through civil lawsuit. Media play would run parallel to gain public support. But danger increased proportionally. Baek Do-hwan's side also watched Do-hyun's movements closely. They decided not to tolerate anymore. One night, Do-hyun was returning to his father's noodle shop after finishing a Market Merchant Protection Association meeting. The clock pointed to 9 p.m. Later than usual. Arriving at the noodle shop, Do-hyun sensed strange atmosphere. Too quiet around the shop. Usually several shops would be lit at this hour, but today everywhere was dark. Ominous shadows fell before the noodle shop. 2 black cars parked in front, and 6 men surrounded the shop. "Father!" As Do-hyun tried running, Baek Do-hwan's subordinates had stormed in, destroying shop fixtures and cornering Young-ho. "Stop!" Do-hyun shouted. The men looked at him. One held a baseball bat. "Oh, lawyer gentleman arrived. Perfect timing." "What are you doing?" "Nothing much. Just cleaning up the shop." They continued smashing tables and chairs. Dishes fell to the floor, shattering. "Your son's too arrogant, isn't he? Tell him to shut up." One man told Young-ho, "Don't think being a lawyer means you can do anything. We know things too." Do-hyun took out his phone, calling 112. "I've reported to police." "Stop now." "Report? Police coming won't help." What did we do wrong? They continued destroying fixtures mockingly. Fortunately, police arrived after 10 minutes. But the men acted nonchalant. "Officer, we did nothing. Just came to talk." "Then what's this mess?" Do-hyun protested. "Oh, Manager Kim got angry and broke these himself. What could we have done?" Young-ho was angry but couldn't speak. He feared the men's threats. Police tried settling after hearing both sides, but couldn't take proper action without clear evidence. After the men left, Do-hyun and Young-ho stared at the ruined shop. Young Ho wasn't seriously hurt that day, but the shop was wrecked like ruins. Everything carefully nurtured for 30 years was destroyed overnight. Father, are you okay? I'm fine. Not hurt. But Young Ho's heart wasn't okay. Anger and despair mixed. Do-hyun, sorry. Because of you this happened. No, father. This proves we're doing righteous work. We must strengthen more. Next morning, amazing things happened. Market merchants began gathering at the noodle shop one by one. Deoksu came first. Young Ho, what is this mess? I'll bring cleaning tools. Soonja came with rags and buckets. Sister will help. Can't be alone after such incident. Cheol-soo moved broken tables, saying, Do-hyun, we can't tolerate this anymore. Let's fight together. However, this incident rather exploded merchants' anger. People who'd hidden in individual fears now began voicing out one by one. We can't just take this. Do-hyun's right. Must face together. No more places to retreat. More people gathered around Do-hyun. Market Merchant Protection Association membership grew from initial 5 to 20, then 30. Now it really begins. Do-hyun told merchants, joining forces ensures victory. Law and justice are on our side. That evening, Do-hyun sat in his law office, beginning to write complaint. No more delays. Time to start full-scale court battle. Finishing work that continued late into night, Do-hyun looked outside. Even in darkness, market lights lit one by one. People's unwillingness to give up was contained in those lights. Father will win. Do-hyun's heart held conviction. A week after the noodle shop attack, Do-hyun finally took decisive action. He submitted complaint letters to prosecutors with collected evidence and merchants' testimonies. But that wasn't enough. He judged that moving public opinion was necessary to bring real change. We must inform media, Do-hyun said at the Market Merchant Protection Association meeting. Media? Would they listen to our story? Deoksu asked worriedly. Grandfather, our evidence is newsworthy enough. Organized violence, illegal redevelopment. These can attract social attention. Do-hyun had already contacted several media outlets. Among them, journalist Kim from weekly magazine Truth Pursuit showed interest. Do you have solid evidence? Journalist Kim asked by phone. Recording files, testimonies, and damage photos. Everything is prepared. I'll show you directly. Days later, journalist Kim visited the market. He interviewed merchants directly and thoroughly reviewed Do-hyun's materials. This is sufficient for articles. But for bigger impact, holding a press conference would be good. Press conference? Yes, you can call multiple media outlets at once, and merchants can voice directly. After consulting merchants, Do-hyun decided to hold a press conference. The location was a small clearing at the market entrance. They installed a temporary stage where merchants usually rested. On press conference day, more reporters gathered than expected. Over 10 media outlets appeared with cameras and microphones, terrestrial broadcasters, newspapers, internet media. Do-hyun held the press conference with merchants. Wearing a suit, he stood before the microphone holding prepared statements. Hello, I'm lawyer Kim Do-hyun. His voice didn't tremble. Experience arguing in numerous courts helped in such moments. Today we want to report serious illegal acts. We'll discuss organized threats and violence perpetrated by construction company President Baek, Do-hwan and his organization against traditional market merchants. Before media, he exposed Baek Do-hwan's illegal acts completely. He released recording files and explained merchants' damage cases specifically. For 6 months, Baek, Do-hwan and his organization systematically threatened merchants here. Do-hyun showed prepared materials. This is evidence of merchant Soonja forcibly having her bank book taken. And this is testimony documenting threats against butcher Cheol-soo's daughter. Reporters pressed camera shutters photographing materials. More serious was last week's violence. My father's noodle shop was attacked and completely destroyed. Do-hyun released photos from the attack. Shattered windows, broken tables and chairs, threatening messages on walls. Before cameras, Do-hyun firmly stated, "This market is countless ordinary people's livelihood foundation. We cannot let violence and greed trample that foundation. We'll fight to the end with law." Following his words, merchants stepped before microphones, testifying their experiences individually. Deoksu went first. "I've operated a herbal medicine shop here over 30 years. Then suddenly they said leave. When I refused, they came nightly making chaos. Really scary." Sunja also spoke with trembling voice. "They forcibly took my bank book, then said no need to pay rent. By what right do such things?" Cheol-soo couldn't contain anger, raising his voice. "They even threatened my daughter, waiting at school, threatening a middle schooler. Absolutely unforgivable." As merchants' testimonies continued, reporters' expressions grew serious. This wasn't simple real estate dispute, but organized criminal activity. "I'll take questions." When Do-hyun spoke, reporters' hands rose simultaneously. "Lawyer, how is police investigation progressing?" Currently, complaint letters are submitted to prosecutors, and police began investigation, but no visible results yet. Any rebuttal from Baek Do-hwan's side? They claim legitimate business activities so far, but seeing our evidence shows how absurd that claim is. What legal responses do you plan? We're preparing civil lawsuits alongside criminal complaints. Above all, we plan mobilizing all legal means to protect this market. After the press conference, Do-hyun returned to the noodle shop with merchants. Though the shop wasn't fully restored, their hearts felt lighter. "Now it really begins." Young-ho told his son, "Yes, father. Now the world heard our story." Social impact was bigger than expected. From the next day, various media began covering the market situation. Especially learning children were threatened exploded citizens' anger. Internet comments poured. "Does this make sense? Threatening middle schoolers. This Baek Do-hwan must be punished. Can't steal ordinary people's livelihood foundations this way." As public opinion boiled, politics began moving. Opposition lawmakers raised this issue in parliamentary audits. Ruling party promised countermeasures too. Police could no longer remain inactive, changing previously passive investigation attitudes. They formed full-scale investigation teams. Comprehensive investigation of Baek Do-hwan and his organization began. Prosecutors also began serious investigation. Based on Do-hyun's complaints and evidence, they summoned Baek Do-hwan. Lawyer Baek Do-hwan appeared at prosecutor's office. A prosecutor investigator contacted Do-hyun. What reaction does he show? Still denying charges. Claims legitimate business activities. But as evidence emerged successively, Baek Do-hwan's position narrowed, especially discovering his organization used similar methods in other areas, made situations more serious. A week later, the decisive moment finally came. Baek Do-hwan arrest warrant issued. Breaking news appeared. Baek Do-hwan was arrested. With arrest warrant issued, he left prosecutor's office in handcuffs. That scene was broadcast nationwide on television. But Baek Do-hwan resisted to the end, appointing lawyers, claiming innocence. In court, he struggled desperately. "I conducted business legitimately. Merchants misunderstood." When trial began, Baek Do-hwan's lawyer actively rebutted. "Prosecutor, our client simply pursued redevelopment business. There might have been misunderstandings during merchant negotiations, but that's not crime, is it?" But Do-hyun's prepared evidence was solid. Recording files contained clear threatening remarks. Merchants' testimonies matched. "Judge, this is audio file of defendant's organization threatening merchants." Do-hyun presented evidence in court. Baek Do-hwan's subordinate's voice echoed from recorder. "The world doesn't run purely by law. Powerful guys win." The courtroom stirred. And these are victims' testimonies. All consistently testify defendants' systematic threats. Merchants' courageous testimonies followed. Deoksu, Sunja, Cheol-soo all appeared in court, vividly testifying what they endured. "We were simply doing business for livelihood, then suddenly told to leave, threatened when refusing. Is this legitimate business?" Deoksu's testimony drew sighs from gallery. They even threatened my daughter. Waiting at school, telling a middle schooler, "Tell father to think carefully. How can this be legitimate business?" Cheolsu's testimony contained anger. Baek Do-hwan's lawyer rebutted. Witnesses' testimonies might be subjective interpretations. Our client simply conducted relocation negotiations. Then why destroy shops? Do-hyun counter-argued. Look at these photos. Are these results of simple negotiations? Do-hyun presented horrific photos from the noodle shop attack. Baek Do-hwan's lies gradually crumbled. Evidence was too clear. Testimonies matched. Moreover, revealing previous crimes in other areas, exposed his criminal patterns. The trial continued 2 months. Fierce battles occurred inside and outside court. Baek Do-hwan's side claimed innocence to the end, but evidence couldn't support their claims. Finally, closing arguments ended and sentencing day approached. On sentencing day, the courtroom was packed, filled with merchants, citizens, and reporters. Do-hyun also sat tensely. When the judge entered, the courtroom quieted. "I will sentence defendant Baek Do-hwan." The judge's voice echoed through court. The defendant threatened good citizens' livelihoods through organizationally planned crimes. Especially threatening minors is unforgivable. The judge's final sentence came. Defendant Baek Do-hwan caused multiple damages through organized violence and illegal redevelopment. All charges of extortion, threats, and property damage are recognized. Hereby sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. Additionally, defendant's subordinates are sentenced 3 to 5 years imprisonment respectively. The courtroom stirred. Heavier sentences than expected. Merchants shed tears embracing each other. "We won, really won," Soonja said tearfully. "Thanks to Do-hyun. Really grateful." Deoksu also shed tears. Young-ho sat there looking at his son. Hot tears formed in his eyes. Tears mixed with pride and gratitude. Do-hyun. Young-ho called his son's name. No more words came. Do-hyun also looked at his father, nodding. "Father, we did it." Leaving court, Do-hyun received interview requests from reporters. "Lawyer, how do you feel?" "Justice won. But this isn't the end but beginning. I'll continue fighting such injustice." "What are future plans?" "I'll help this market regain former vitality, and I'm prepared to help anyone suffering similar damage anytime." That evening, market merchants held small celebration. Though still incompletely restored noodle shop, people gathered there. "Cheers!" Everyone raised glasses. "For justice and our victory." Their faces were full of smiles. The long, difficult fight ended, and they won. Do-hyun could reconfirm why he became a lawyer watching this scene. His childhood promise to protect the weak with law became reality. A month after Baek, Do-hwan received 10-year sentencing. His organization collapsed completely. Subordinates imprisoned, the market's shadow lifted finally. Merchants gradually regained stability. Initially cautious, they realized true freedom as weeks passed. "Really over?" Soonja asked Deoksu. "Of course. They're imprisoned. What's scary?" Merchants protected each other. Their bonds deepened through shared trials. Previously individual, now they cared mutually, helping always. Market Merchant Protection Association continued. They learned voicing courageously, knowing no unfair incidents would be endured alone. "Together nothing's impossible," Deoksu said at meetings. "We became real community," Soonja agreed. Restoration of ruined noodle shop began. Merchants voluntarily joined forces helping Young-ho. Cheolsu painted walls. Soonja cleaned. Deoksu fixed broken furniture. After weeks' work, shop renewed completely fresh white walls, gleaming floors, new tables arranged neatly. "Like completely new shop," Do-hyun admired. "Thanks to everyone," Young-ho bowed. "We're one family," Deoksu patted Young-ho's shoulder. Warm noodle aroma spread through market again. Young-ho resumed cooking. Customers returned enthusiastically, lining up like before. "One noodle." "Me too." Orders poured in. Do-hyun helped wearing aprons. "Lawyer serves noodles too." Customers smiled. Helped father since childhood, Do-hyun answered skillfully, serving bowls. Noodles seemed improved hearts of overcoming hardships infused in food. Months passed, market regained former vitality, even more vibrant. Do-hyun's story spread widely. The lawyer's son protecting father's shop moved many hearts. One afternoon, Young-ho told Do-hyun, "Without you, I'd have collapsed. You protected not just my shop, but market's hope." "Law should exist for weak," Do-hyun replied. "What will you do going forward?" "Legal services for ordinary people. Open small office here, so merchants can visit any time with problems." Young-ho's eyes sparkled. "Good idea." Weeks later, Common People's Legal Consultation Office sign appeared. Opening day, merchants gathered congratulating. "Now we're secure. Don't worry about fees. Charge according to ability. Even one noodle bowl's sufficient," Do-hyun joked. That evening, market celebrated with Feast Young-ho's noodles, Soonja's dishes, Cheol-su's meat, Deok-su's tea. Cheers for victory and new beginning. Do-hyun's office became renowned. Grateful people visited seeking help. "Really, thank you. Thanks for keeping my house." Young-ho's shop flourished, becoming market specialty, attracting tourists. But Young-ho unchanged, still rising 4 a.m., serving carefully. One day, prosecutor from Baek-do-hwan case visited. "Why open office here? You could succeed at major firms," he asked. "Success standards differ. Helping needy people more meaningful," Do-hyun answered. Admirable life. Seasons changed. Market stabilized. New merchants entered cafes, bakeries, accessory shops. Tradition and modernity blended uniquely. "Market changed much?" customer asked. "But some things don't change scent of human living, hearts. Caring for each other," Young-ho replied. City designated market model traditional market. Mayor attended ceremony, exemplary case overcoming crisis through unity. Merchants celebrated again. "Like dream," Soonja said. "All thanks to Do-hyun. I didn't do alone." "Everyone joined courageously," Do-hyun replied modestly. Time flowed. Do-hyun became region's essential figure. True neighborhood lawyer. One autumn, walking market path, Do-hyun reflected. Everything changed from despair to hope, fear to vitality. "We really did it," he thought. "I'm happy," Do-hyun told father. "Me too," Young-ho smiled. Market and people came alive again, hope instead. Fear, dreams instead despair, solidarity instead loneliness. Important lesson: justice may seem late, but ultimately wins. Evil forces temporarily powerful, but eventually surrender. Good people united overcome any difficulty. Years later, Seoul City offered Do-hyun public interest lawyer position. Good opportunity helping more people, Young-ho encouraged. Do-hyun accepted, but worked weekdays Seoul, weekends market. "This best method," he explained. Eventually, Young-ho's health declined. Do-hyun resigned Seoul job, returned permanently. This time really living here forever. Merchant's joy indescribable. Time continued. Young-ho 70, Do-hyun 40. Do-hyun married, had children. 3 generations working together became market attraction. "Grandfather noodles," grandchild called. "Yes, grandfather cooked deliciously." "Do-hyun, I lived really happy life." "Possible because of you," Young-ho said. "Father taught me life's meaning." Market remained vibrant. New merchants entered, young customers visited. But unchanged hearts cherishing people, mutual help spirit, justice belief. Do-hyun's son asked, "Why become lawyer?" "Help weak people." "Should I become lawyer too?" "Do what you want, but hope it helps people." Story continues, passed to new generations facing challenges, but power overcoming all unchanged. Love, justice, hope. With laughter echoing through market alleys, values continue passing down. Though justice seems late, ultimately certainly wins. This message, Young-ho, Do-hyun, small market convey to world. Message echoing today, tomorrow, forever.